It was the horse's first baby, and she must have been exhausted. But there was still one thing the farmer needed to do: introduce the foal to her mommy. He rubs mommy's hindquarters to get her attention, and she turns her head to the new arrival. Animals are usually natural moms, but just like with humans, sometimes it helps to have a helping hand. In 2017, equine enthusiast Facebook group, Horse Spirit, hosted an amazing video showing a very special moment. The footage revealed a mama horse meeting her first foal. Both the location and the name of the horse's owner are unknown. However, the event appears to take place on a farm. Furthermore, the farmer seems to have experience with animal births, so the horse was in very safe hands. The video begins with the farmer assisting a beautiful dark mare with her birth. The process has already begun, and the farmer holds the baby as it makes its entrance. Mommy looks exhausted and lies down as her baby arrives. The baby's hind legs appear first, and the farmer uses them to ease it further into the world. The foal is quite hard to make out at first though. It's covered with a membrane of some kind. In fact, that's the amniotic sac. Amniotic sacs are tough coverings that envelop fetuses, including human babies in the womb. They are actually filled with fluid and act as a cushion to protect the child during its mommy's pregnancy. When it bursts, it's referred to as waters breaking. On the other hand, some creatures give birth to babies while they're still in the amniotic sac. It's not just animals that do this, it's also possible in humans. This is a very rare occurrence for human mothers, but it's much more common in the animal kingdom. The video's foal is a prime example, as the baby is born completely covered in its sac. The footage shows how the farmer steps in to free the foal from its membrane. Then he wipes the fluid from its snout and mouth as best he can. Meanwhile, mommy horse sits up and looks at the baby she brought into the world. The farmer gives the tired baby a moment to catch its breath, but there is still work to do. In this case, the farmer needs to free the foal from the rest of its amniotic sac. With this in mind, the farmer carefully peels the rest of the sac off, and the video switches scenes. It looks like mommy and baby have had a chance to rest since mom is on her feet. She also dedicates her attention to her foal. The fluids released during birth make an attractive scent for the mother. As a result, she is more inclined to lick her newborn and nuzzle it with her snout. In the video, you can see mommy mare licking her baby. This is an important step for both mother and child, and it serves several different purposes. The first is obviously to clean the foal. The second is to create an emotional bond between each other. The third reason is as much for survival as development. Mother mare's attention is supposed to spur the foal into taking its first steps. The scent and sounds of birth may attract predators, and a helpless foal would be a tasty treat. Mommy wants her baby up and running as quickly as possible for a greater chance of survival. That's not such a big problem for farm horses, but it's ingrained in horse behavior. Despite mom's persistent attention though, the foal doesn't make an attempt to move. This is presumably why the farmer steps in to help, and mom seems happy for the assistance. The farmer approaches the foal and carefully puts his arms around it until he has it supported. Then, he carefully lifts it off the ground to encourage the baby to stand. The foal seems nervous as a result and stamps its little hooves. The foal calms down shortly after and seems to get the hang of its new upright position. It also recognizes that the farmer is there for support and leans its body against him. Mommy sees all this and goes over to see if she can help. The mare goes back to licking her foal's neck to help the baby walk. While she does that, the farmer is carefully balancing the foal's body to give it better support. The combined effort of mother and farmer makes a touching scene. And their hard work paid off. The footage cuts to another scene, but this time baby's walking. It's a little unsteady on its feet, but trotting proudly alongside mommy. The farmer must also be proud to see the baby he helped bring into the world, finding its feet. The video offers a wonderful chance to witness not only a foal's birth, but also the first stages of its development. It would seem the internet agrees. Almost 8 million people have watched the footage. In addition, it has been shared 112,000 times. Mommy Mare did a wonderful job of bringing her foal into the world. But let's not forget the caring farmer who helped her by literally supported her baby until it could walk. Now that's someone who's dedicated to animal care, and as a reward, he gets to watch the baby grow up.
If you enjoyed this story, wait for our next story starting in 10 seconds. Patrick the dog had no idea what he'd done wrong. He'd been left out in the cold by his owner for over a week. Then, just when he must have thought his ordeal was over, someone threw him down a garbage chute and into the claws of an awaiting compactor. But mercifully, just as the crusher approached, someone decided to check the trash. At just 1 year old, Patrick the pit bull had seemingly known little but pain and misery. He lived in an apartment in Newark, New Jersey, with a callous owner who neglected and abandoned him. But shockingly, his predicament would get even worse. The dog's owner, Kisha Curtis, had been starving Patrick for most of his short life. Indeed, by this point, Patrick was simply an emaciated bag of flesh and bones. Then, in March 2011, Curtis decided to leave the state for a week. But rather than sort out proper care for her pet, she simply tied him up outside her apartment block and left him. However, his suffering didn't end there. At some point, an unknown person wrapped the dog in plastic and threw him down a garbage chute. It's believed that the poor pit bull fell 22 floors before hitting the ground. But despite the fact that he'd somehow survived the drop, Patrick wasn't out of the woods yet. Indeed, the animal was just seconds away from being crushed to death by a trash compactor. Fortunately, though, the building's janitor was sorting the garbage that day. And just as Patrick was about to meet a sticky end in the machine, the janitor noticed some movement in the plastic. When he unwrapped the plastic, he was presented with a truly horrifying spectacle: Patrick in his skeletal state. Patrick was shivering with cold and was surely at death's door. However, the janitor did the right thing. He contacted the City of Newark Animal Control, which in turn called New Jersey's Associated Humane Societies. The organization rescued the dog the day before St. Patrick's Day, hence his name, and he would certainly need some of that famous Irish luck. A rescue team rushed Patrick to a nearby veterinary clinic where he was placed on an IV drip. Vets also discovered that Patrick only weighed an astonishing 19 pounds. Plus, his temperature had plummeted to the point where it could no longer be picked up by a medical thermometer. So staff at the clinic covered the dog in blankets and applied heated pads. Technician Gina DeSalvo then held Patrick in her arms. Not only did her touch provide him with a little warmth, but it surely also reassured him that he was now in a safe place. This is not a month of starvation, Dr. Thomas Scavelli, owner of the Garden State Veterinary Specialists, told the Daily Mail in 2012. This is a lifetime probably, or at least months and months of neglect. To see the way he cares for people and trusts people, that's really been the most interesting and rewarding thing to see about the canine spirit. Before Patrick would be able to eat again, though, surgeons had to remove a large hairball from his stomach. After that, Patrick would rely on a specialist diet and medicine to aid his recovery. Vets also administered 3 blood transfusions and put the dog on a course of physical therapy. As the weeks passed, Patrick gradually began to recover. He started to put on weight, for instance, and he was able to consume solid food. And pretty soon, the dog's vibrant personality began to shine through for all to see. 2 of his favorite things to do were taking long walks in the sun and playing with his toys indoors. And now that he was getting the care and attention he'd been denied for so long, Patrick seemed to be making up for lost time. While Patrick was finally in safe hands, his former owner, Curtis, was charged with animal neglect and abandonment. She later pleaded guilty to 4th-degree animal cruelty and was given a sentence of 1.5 years of parole. Curtis admitted to leaving Patrick tied up outside but denied throwing him down the garbage chute. Throughout Patrick's treatment, staff from Garden State Veterinary Specialists took to social media in order to keep well-wishers updated with his progress. And it seemed that the dog's extraordinary story captured many people's hearts. As a result, the clinic was inundated with letters, donations and toys. In the 17 years we've been here we've never seen this type of response to an animal, Patricia Smiley Scavelli, wife of Dr. Scavelli and clinic administrator, told the Daily Mail. There's something about Patrick that has really sparked interest, honestly, from throughout the entire world. Meanwhile, Patrick also had a profound affect on Smiley Scavelli herself. So much so, in fact, that she decided to adopt the dog once he was better. Today, the dog is completely unrecognizable. Not only is he a healthy weight, but he's also always sporting a winning smile. Despite everything he'd been through, it seems Patrick only has space for kindness in his heart. He really gives love, Patricia Smiley Scavelli told the Irish Central News website. She added, "He climbs into your lap. He would prefer to sit in your lap than lay on the floor. He also sleeps in our bed at night, along with the cat." So while Patrick had suffered hugely at the hands of humans, he is still, somehow, able to trust them. At least now he's experiencing the kindness of people for the first time. While someone threw him away just like a piece of trash, he turned out to be a real treasure.